episode of Fantasy Football House Reality. Yes, I'm your host, Greg Romero Wilson, and with me is the very funny, very smart Scott Berman, the Nation, on Instagram. Yes, who's here. He tends to bring in a lot of little facts I always overlook. I'm a big picture guy. I'm a big Mo guy. And in fact, Big Mo is going to play a lot into my commentary today when it comes to who's really going to go off, because I think there's a big old wave coming and it's pretty easy to see. But let's start with the major storylines. Obviously, Scott woke up early enough to take advantage. This is one of those things about, being East Coast, Central, or West Coast. I guess this happened very early because I woke up to this announcement, and that's DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs.
Yeah, baby. Happy to grab DeAndre Hopkins.
Now, he is kind of beat up, but, you have to admit that he's still the best receiver on that team. Easily, even if Rashee Rice were still healthy, he'd probably still be the best receiver on that team. Do you agree?
Well, I do agree. And I look at, Devontae Adams. He was, quote, banged up too until he went to the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, and suddenly he was healed. And I think it's going to be the same thing with D-Hop. He's fine. He's going to be fine.
I think so too. But and if anything else, I think for those of us that have been clinging to Xavier Worthy, and last week was so disappointing because I figured they spent the entire bye week working on these routes. He needed to become a better route runner, and apparently they just went on vacation for a week and didn't do shit. Granted, they still won, but Mahomes did not return to fantasy relevance. He ended up I dropped in one league. A friend of ours dropped him in another league. Now I did hold on to him in one league. I was like, it's still fucking Mahomes. And of course, hours later, we get the news, D-Hop moves in, and now everyone's going to be scrambling to grab Mahomes off of the waiver wire, knowing that now he has the one. He only needs one of those guys to unlock everything else. Kareem Hunt's been running great, so now all of a sudden Mahomes went from zero to hero, and it seems like we've been a week early on a lot of these predictions.
I agree with you there too. Yep.
And another one that we were a week early on was your prediction that Gibbs was going to take over for Montgomery, and it didn't happen the week you said it.
One week early.
You were one, and we tend to be. I do that a lot, where I'm just 1 week ahead of the situation being accurate. And you were just 1 week early on that, and so we'll see how this all shakes out. Of course, I lost faith in that fuck once, like hours too soon, and that's the thing about Wednesday being the start of the player week, because that's when shit happens. But we do the waivers on Tuesday. So we wake up to all of a sudden all these new news, and we're like, fuck that, I dropped that guy. We made
Now,
moves.
did you set your alarm this morning to get up, or did you just have to take a piss?
I just had to take a piss. I got up to take a piss. I'd gotten in bed early because I was so tired. And I
thought you were working it too.
Totally, I did.
I was like, hey, we're both up doing it.
12:30 at night, I know. And then I saw you got Jawan Jennings for free. And he had become a very big fab target because of the situation in San Francisco. Yeah.
Ayuk, which is the second headline we should get to. Ayuk is done for the season.
Done for the season. Season.
It was, it looked kind of bad when it happened. I didn't really, the angle was weird. And then I looked at it again and saw it from different angles. And yeah, he done. He gone. What
about both the wide receivers for Tampa Bay? They gone.
So, the hard thing for me is I can't imagine being Todd Bowles and having to answer the same question over and over again. You're down by 10 points. There's only a minute left. What's he doing in the game? And, at first I thought I agreed with everybody that Todd Bowles is to blame. And then I was like, you know what? His job is to win. Yeah. You've got to have your players in to win.
Yeah.
So, I've completely done a 360 or a 180 on it rather. And I feel bad for the guy. He's probably got it on his conscience. I mean, did you see his foot?
Oh my God. That one was what Hutchinson had been the week before. This one was because I rolled it back, and was like,
yeah,
and I was like, oh. I
You're
mean,
like,
it
is his
was
foot facing?
the wrong
No.
direction. Like Dax was. I remember when Dax was facing the wrong way,
Yes.
and he quickly flipped it back around. And I was,
Well,
and it
yeah,
reminded me of that. Because he quickly was like, ah, like
it
I think
was
that's
so
such a
scary.
natural instinct that takes over. Of I need to put that back facing the right way.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. Yeah, I
At
would
that
do the
point,
exact same thing.
you're not a football player. You're just an animal
No,
trying to survive
yeah,
life.
yeah,
And
man.
boy, whoa, yeah, it was, yeah,
But what a man, though, right? Like
yeah,
he was out there. And did you see him? Did you see him on the cart afterwards?
yeah.
There was what they said. First of all, he was like not crying, which
Deshaun Watson
Deshaun Watson was
crying
crying.
like a little bitch. I'm kidding. I'm
I'm
just
sure
fucking
it
around.
hurts like
I would
hell, you
absolutely
know.
be. I would be
Yeah,
screaming. I'd be grabbing shit. I'd be breaking things.
yeah. I would probably have passed out from the
Yeah,
pain, you
absolutely.
know. But
Yeah.
here's this guy's like, oh darn it, I was like, wow, you are such a
I
dude.
thought the
You're such a
same thing when they
dude.
carted him all. I was like, that guy is
He's a
tough as
man.
nails. Because
And he was saying, if you could read lips, what he said was back to work because he had just come off a major
right.
injury.
Oy.
I'm like, what a stud you are. And it's sad because this is his contract year. And, this is going to
Well,
set him back. I mean, he
and
was setting records.
I mean, I know, but yeah, it was. And the funny, this is it's so funny. Sometimes the trades are cruel. You end up at the wrong end of them. Sometimes you dodge a bullet. Because I tried to trade for Godwin the week before and got rebuffed.
Oh,
And it's so funny because I've been hit up with a few trades for Tua this week, and I'm kind of like, what? I'm like, because if he goes out there, has a great game, then gets knocked the fuck out again at the end of it, I'm gonna wish I'd sold. I'm gonna wish I
right,
traded him for Nick Chubb. That's what I'm
right.
gonna wish.
Yeah, well, I understand that. And, hindsight's always 2020. So,
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
right now you got to
And,
trust your gut and you got him for a reason and you believe in him. And
and
I
I need a
think,
quarterback that's willing to sling it. I mean, Mahomes isn't willing to sling it. I mean,
well,
which is
we're going to
great that
discuss that
we'll
later
discuss
because
that
I've
in a
got
minute too.
one
Okay.
for you. Yeah.
And let's talk about another thing we were a week early on. I've been worried about Jaden Daniels and his running, and I had expressed my concern going up against the Ravens. He managed to come out clean, but then against Carolina, did you see that crunch?
I didn't, no, I didn't see how, like, I didn't
They
think it looked so
folded him
bad.
like a
Oh,
taco.
oh.
I mean, bleh, I was like, and I've been saying it. I was worried about this with him. The ghost of RG3 strikes again. Now they're saying it's nothing and he'll be fine. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think this guy plays this week. Now, I do think he probably plays maybe next week, if not the week after that. But I know they're trying to
What a
downplay
shame,
it.
because this is the one we really wanted to see. Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels would have been so much fun to have them both on the field.
And even if it
Anyway,
goes out there, I just don't like it. I think, again, one good hit and back out he goes, and now he's out for longer. So I'm concerned.
and I don't think
about
they ever
that.
gave us the actual injury either. They just was like a chest injury. Like, is it
was
his
a
ribs?
rib
Is it a
injury. It
lung?
was a
Is it
rib
his, like
injury, I thought.
the
Yeah.
rib? I mean, so like I don't know. Is it bruised? Was it fractured? Is it what's going on?
I
They
don't know.
didn't
Yeah.
really give us any information on it. So that makes me nervous. I mean, his mother says he's fine, but she needs to keep making the house payment. So,
I was going to say exactly.
She's like, yeah.
Exactly. I just like your mother to be like, oh, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, you're good. You're good, baby.
No, it's
You
fine.
get back to work.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry. Everything's fine.
Well, how about some good news? Puka Nacua is off IR, designated to return.
Just
and
like
Cooper
Cooper Kupp
is designated to return.
That's right. If Stafford's out there, maybe it's time to take a look at Staffy getting his weapons back. Starting to get his weapons back.
Yeah, so, well, I don't know if you've heard the NFL rumors about this. It's crazy because he plays tomorrow versus Darnold. And it's kind of fascinating. They're talking about a potential trade between the two teams for the two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Which I think is like, it makes so much sense when you think about it. Because they've already got JJ McCarthy.
Right. Yeah. Minnesota's going to do that thing where they did exactly what the Rams did, which is the one piece maybe missing is bring in, Stafford to sling that ball against the team they're going to have to beat, which is Detroit. Okay. Right. Right. I mean, if they truly are all in, although I saw a shutdown of the rumors by Stafford
Oh,
earlier today.
well, I
So
think it all depends on how this game turns out. I mean, if
yeah,
Darnold destroys it, then I think it doesn't matter what Stafford wants. I mean, it's going to be
I don't know that the Stafford destroy a thing anymore. Or not Stafford,
Darnold.
Darnold. I think
Dude,
Darnold is back to
he
being now.
looked
Don't get me
he
wrong.
looked
He's playing
great
with a
versus
great.
Detroit.
Listen, he's got a great team. He's playing very well. But I'm saying exactly, that's what you're getting. Very good. You're getting very good, which is
Pretty
basically what you're. You know,
impressive.
I know everyone's crazy about golf, but that's basically what you get out of golf too.
Well, how many
Usually,
more years are you going to get out of Stafford?
well, exactly. I
So
mean
that's why,
that is an
on a
all
guy.
in move for sure.
Well, so you take a shot on a guy like Darnold, who's showing that he can support a number one wide receiver. Look, he proved me wrong. I thought that this was never going to work. And, he's actually looking good. Just like Baker, I thought he was washed.
Okay,
And you know what? He's
so
great too.
hypothetical on the wire, Mahomes
Mm-hmm.
and Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you picking up?
Is it only for this week? Do I have to play them this week?
It's for the remainder of the season. You could play them this week. It's
Remainder of the
probably
season, I'll take Mahomes. I'll take Mahomes.
yeah.
And
You have
Stafford
to
and wait and
yeah,
hope for the best
and
because
hope for the best. Yep.
like with D Hop, it
Well,
really does bring you some new
well, listen.
hope.
You may be happy about those guys being back, but the guy I'm happy to see back on the field is a young man named Bryce Young. Listen, we all know he's been done dirty over there in Carolina, which is, listen, you're the number one overall pick. You're going to a dumpster fire. That's always been the curse of the number one pick.
Except for Caleb Williams. Lucky.
But it wasn't a dumpster fire. They made all those moves in the offseason to prepare for the king.
They traded their pick, Carolina did, to Chicago. So when Carolina sucked so bad, Chicago got the number one pick. So it's not normal. It's not normal. Normally he would have went to Carolina. They would have just went, okay, Bryce didn't work out. We'll take Caleb this year, and we'll just put, like they do to so many other quarterbacks who don't work out after the first year or two. They just stick them on the bench and they grab another one. And that's what would have happened, but they traded it away. So now Chicago's got him. And I think that Carolina's cursed for some reason. I don't understand.
Certain organizations are. I hate to say it again. I was saying it about the Jets.
The Jets, yeah.
I said we saw this with the Browns. There's certain organizations. It looks so good on paper. And I even went out and got Rodgers just because I needed somebody, because both Dak and Caleb. I did one of those mistakes where I didn't bother to look at the bye weeks. And they were both on bye, and I had to get someone. And Caleb's playing better than Dak, so I had to let Dak go and get that fucking dipshit Rodgers. Still got a win. He did enough to get me the win, but I mean, it wasn't
fun.
It wasn't, and he was garbage. And then he gets up there and he's smug, and I hated him being on my team, and I fucking got rid of him.
Right? It sucks to look down.
Got rid of him this week.
Yeah.
So
you went and got. Who did you get? You went and got Caleb. Is it Caleb?
Caleb. I got Caleb Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
impressive. I believe in Caleb. I think he 4 touchdowns. That's hard to argue with.
Showed nothing but improvement since the beginning.
But Bryce Young, back to what we were discussing to begin with, he's had a chance to sit. He's had a chance to watch. He's had a chance to recalibrate himself physically, emotionally, spiritually. This is the kind of reset, and to get it back, when you weren't expecting to get it back for the remainder of the season, or maybe at the very end when you've clearly been eliminated, they're like, all right, put him back in. Now you get it back. Okay. Listen, this kid was a starter and national champion at Alabama. Okay. You don't do that without being a real competitor in your heart. Okay. Nick Saban, the greatest college coach of all time, looked at you and said, you're my guy, and made you the starter and the star of the Alabama team.
Benched Tua for him, right?
Yeah. No, was it? No. He was after Tua.
He was after Tua? Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought that he was backing up Tua and then he benched Tua for him, but I could be wrong too. I've only gotten into college recently.
I was going to say, I don't think that was the case. I think it was because it would Tua, and then the white kid that went.
Jalen Hurts.
No,
Jalen
Hurt.
Hurts and Tua,
Oh,
right?
that's right. Right. No, because then Jalen left. Tua replaced Jalen. Jalen went to Oklahoma, won the national championship. Tua got hurt. I forgot who played for him, but Mac Jones ended up being the guy after
There we
Tua.
go. We
And
got
then
there.
after Mac Jones came Bryce Young.
We got
And
there.
I'm telling you, this is what I want to see. I know no one else gives a fuck about this Carolina game, but I do. I want to see Bryce Young come out there and prove why he was number one. I still love this kid. I still believe in him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to watch people burn and fail. You know, I mean, the guy, his whole life, this is what he tried to do. He worked so hard to get where he is. It sucks to watch people just fail miserably like that.
Well, and I feel like the team
You know.
didn't believe in him enough. Because again, if the team doesn't believe in you enough, they're not going to play very hard.
Well, they got rid of everything that would help him. They got rid of McCaffrey. They got rid of DJ Moore. Imagine if they still had all those guys.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
But
I mean,
but he, he's got Chuba Hubbard. They got Jonathan Brooks coming back now, and in a couple, hopefully in a week or two. They got they got Deontay Johnson. They got Deontay Johnson. He's got someone to throw to now. So I'm saying, like, I feel like the situation is it's more positive, it's more solidified, it's more stable. He just has to go in there and make good use of those things. And I don't know. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see this young man get a chance.
That should be pretty fun. I didn't realize that they had announced that he is going to start.
He is. He started. You know why? Did you see why? Did you see why?
What happened?
Dalton got into a car accident and hurt his thumb.
He got into a car accident and hurt his thumb?
Yeah, his throwing thumb. That's why he's back in. I guess it happened like this morning.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's new news. I know, but I like it. So they've announced it. Bryce is back. I like it. I love it.
Good. How about your waiver wire wins? I know we already talked about Juwan Jennings and D-Hop for me. I have a couple others, but who else you got?
Okay, so obviously now in this Tampa Bay situation, they need 2 wide receivers. Now, obviously, Evans should come back in a week or two. But one of these guys must emerge, and I managed to get both of them on 2 different waiver wires. So talk about a hedge bet. I'm not playing them just yet. I'm at least going to see. And I'll tell you who my money's on. It's on Sterling Shepard. I know everybody likes the rookie, Jalen McMillan, because it seemed like he stepped into the role last week. But a lot of times, that's just about the way they're configured going into that game. That isn't about how they're going to configure it now going forward. And Sterling Shepard's the veteran.
He's also a good friend of Baker's. They played together in college.
And he's a great receiver. I mean, he's always had good games. He's just always been on shitty teams.
Correct.
So if you ask me, the Giants, exactly. He's been marooned. So, I mean, now I feel like he's got a chance. He's playing with his for my money, Sterling Shepard's going to be the guy that's going to be seeing the targets. And quite frankly, I still don't think Baker's going to stop slinging it. He's going to keep. That's why
he's definitely going to keep slinging it. But I think it's going to be the other guy that I got on the wire. I think it's going to be the tight end, Cade Otton. When you saw when Godwin went down.
Oh, Cade Otton
went off, and he got blown up on every single play over and over again. He got up, and I was like, oh, well, that's the end of Cade Otton. That's the end. Every time I thought, well, he won't get up. He won't get up.
But the other thing is, we also know that was an incredibly favorable matchup against the Ravens, who are number 1 easiest against the tight end.
Right.
So it's not always going to be that situation. You know, Cade Otton isn't an every week starter. In this situation, he might be because he's the most experienced one out there. But of the receivers, I like that I picked them up both just in case. I mean, that's pretty rare. And I also managed to grab Ricky Pearsall because right now he is the only healthy receiver for the.
I mean,
he might be
next man up.
And they're playing
Mason
on
is banged
Sunday
up.
night. Huh?
Mason is banged up.
Mason is banged up, but he's expected to play. You know, the shoulder thing that we talked about, he played through it last week, and they're expecting. And again, he has all the way till Sunday night and we'll get to this in the must starts. There's a little wink to what's coming. I mean, they're up against the Cowboys, and they're usually pretty good for good running backs. So we'll see. Other waiver wire pickups, of course, defensively. I love picking up great defensive matchups. Detroit
Yeah,
in a
number
super,
one across the board.
totally in a super plus matchup. The fact that I got him, I was like, nobody. I think I got him like $3.
$3. Yep,
$3.
$3.
That's why I put down $3 because everyone else is maybe $1, no
Yep,
bucks.
there
So I'm
was
like,
Dave bid one.
and that's why I'm like,
That's how
I'm
you
always
do
ready.
it.
They're like $3, please, and I promise you, they're going to deliver 20 plus points
Oh
this
yeah,
Sunday. And then
yeah.
of course, Bears. I picked up the Bears versus Washington because again, I'm expecting Jaden Davis, even if he plays, to be very limited, which is going to be very good for a very aggressive Bears defense. I very much like the Bears this week. So those are two big defensive.
Do we know
waiver
where they're playing?
They're playing in Washington. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Yes.
I do know.
I am actually 100% sure.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I still think that their defense is fantastic. I picked them up in our league of record as well. I had to drop Bucky Irving, which makes me so sad because I've been pounding the table for him. But now that there's 3 people over there, I figured.
And Rachaad White is very back.
So back. Yeah, weird.
It was disgusting to watch.
Yeah,
it was disgusting to watch.
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard to watch. I'd rather watch him than Aaron Rodgers, though.
That's true too. It makes you wonder, like, what do they see in the workouts, in the practices that we only see on the product on the field. I mean, Rachaad White was practice like fucking Superman.
Yeah. Well, he is bigger. He is clearly the biggest and strongest of them, And the other guys are quick and they're shifty, but he's the hammer, like he's the one that's going to pound it through. But it's weird that they're throwing it to him because I thought that's where the other 2 guys would be, where they'd be giving it. But they're throwing it to White, so I don't know. He is.
By the way, in our league of record, I'm 7-0.
Yeah, I'm 6-1. Who has more points between the 2 of us?
I don't know, but I know
I do. It's
me. Does that count towards your overall record?
No, but you get paid for it at the end of the season.
Who's undefeated though?
How many points did you score last week?
How many championships do you have?
2 in this league.
How many do I have in this league?
Well, how many without an asterisk?
League of record?
How many without an asterisk?
All of them without an asterisk.
Oh, I was kidding.
Because I believe I have 4.
I think you got 3. Oh,
I think I have 4.
4?
And I think I'm about to get my 5th. So.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
We'll see.
Nico Collins. Hey, man, I'm 6-1, and all my players got hurt. Trust me, they're all coming back. I'm about to destroy it.
Okay.
All right. What are we going to do about Baker Mayfield? What are we going to do now? Because he was the 2nd best fantasy football quarterback, and now, I dropped him. Because I need stability. You're not going to have it for at least 3 or 4 weeks. That's too long to wait. I can't hope for the best. It's not. Sterling Shepard might be good. What's his name? McMillan or McLaughlin or what the heck his name is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's. It's hard.
McMillan. Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, I don't. It's and Kate
Otten. I'm loath to admit it, but I chose to hold on to Baker over Mahomes because in the moment without DeAndre Hopkins,
right?
Mahomes' path forward seemed to be nothing but the same, and I knew I could trust Baker to keep slinging it. So I held on to him, and of course now I'm crying in my Wheaties, but
a little bit. But you don't know who you've seen that he's highly motivated.
Yep.
He's playing fantastic. It's a shame that he lost all of his weapons.
Yeah. And the reality is I plan to sit them both for Caleb anyway. So
which is
I'm very much now on the Caleb bandwagon.
You should be,
because his trajectory it's like a nice takeoff on a plane with just nice even trajectories. I'd like
no turbulence,
and then a bye week, and then it's like come on, and they didn't go to like Mexico or anything, so.
Right.
He didn't wind up in TMZ, with.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Tijuana.
Or Tijuana either. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I've got him next on my list as well. What are we going to do about Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr.? I don't know.
Is there a personal issue here Remember, I've discussed this before, like with
I
the
think
Amari
so.
Cooper Deshaun thing. There was
Yeah.
this kind of like, fuck you,
Yeah.
and we're seeing it now with him, and by the way, that played out exactly the way I thought it was. I was like, he's going to have like 3 receptions, but one will be for a touchdown. That's exactly what fucking happened. Which makes me a little worried about him this week because I don't know if he gets the end zone this time. But
Wait,
when
side
Marvin,
note, did you see what happened before he caught that touchdown?
no,
He gets up to the line. Amari Cooper gets to the line. He looks over at
oh
Ian
no,
Coleman.
yes,
He's like, "Where am I
I
supposed to
don't know
go?"
where to go.
He's like,
And
"Dude, you gotta
Coleman,
go this way." And
yeah,
then he doesn't even get the touchdown on
yeah,
that
he gives
play. I
like a
was
little
like,
thing, like up there,
"Yeah,
go to the
yeah, yeah." He
post,
gives him like a like what you
post
do
route,
at the
yeah,
on the
yeah,
playground.
yeah.
I was like, "Wow!"
And then he
The
pulled it off,
rookie
and
is
then he
telling
did
the
it,
veteran,
yeah.
and then he caught a touchdown. That was pretty
Fantastic,
cool. Pretty
fantastic.
cool. Yeah.
I was unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunately, I was at a huge concert on Sunday, so I only got to watch a lot of highlights, but that one I definitely
How
saw.
poor you. You were at a huge concert. Oh,
Yeah,
unfortunate.
listen, and I was making a bunch of money at the same time. It's really crazy what my life is
Good
like.
for you. Good for
Yeah.
you.
So the
So
thing,
Marvin Harrison Jr., what
right?
would you do?
Honestly, and
Yeah.
this is strictly, and again, little nod to what's coming, and we might as well. I think he's a must start this week
Whoa.
because they're against Miami. Do you think
Yeah.
they're going to have to throw the ball in the fourth?
Well, because Tua's back, I think that they're going to be down. The game script is going to be gotta fling it. So, I mean,
Kyler may have to get over his fucking ego or whatever the fucking problem is here and throw that man the ball. Because it seems like he's making a conscious decision. And they pointed out several times during that game how Marvin was wide open and he would just throw it to somebody else or run.
Dortch.
Yeah,
Why
Dortch.
are
He
you
would
throwing it
throw
to
it to
Dortch?
Dortch. He's throwing it to Dortch or running. And
Yeah.
it seemed real fucking deliberate. And I feel like there's some kind of an attitude problem situation here where one's like, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm the quarterback. I'm the best. Like, you're nothing without me. I have to, you're not so great if I don't throw you the ball, are you?
Right.
Like, I really feel like there's some little guy, big guy problem happening here. That's what I think is happening. If I'm being honest, that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think is what's up. I think we got a little guy, tall guy situation here.
It could be. And
as
I think that
as a
he'll
short
get over
king, I know it's a real thing.
Well, what are you going to do about everybody on the Jets except for Breece Hall? I mean, I don't know anymore. I feel like maybe you can't play anyone.
Who's their backup quarterback? I don't even know right now. Because
I don't know either.
Rodgers is complaining about his hamstring flaring up, and this guy has got so many fucking excuses. He is just all miserable. Oh, it's this guy. Oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's my hammy. Oh my god.
He should go get inoculated for these things.
Yeah, exactly. Go get inoculated. You know what? How about go fuck yourself, Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers does it again. Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
What about literally all the Browns? And I say that because now Jameis Winston is stepping into the role, which actually might.
I say fire them all up. I love it.
They might elevate everybody. It might.
I think it absolutely will. I think that you're going to get a much better. In fact, we'll talk about him a little more later. But I will say, I say all the Browns, you absolutely hold them. I think that you're going to get a lot more production. But at least, look, you know that Jameis Winston is going to throw it to the other team, okay? You know it. He's going to throw several interceptions, but that does not stop him from continuing to huck the ball down the field as far as he can. Most of the time.
So Jerry Jeudy now, you're saying?
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy. I like all of them. I think that I would give Jerry Jeudy, Njoku, even God, who's the other one over there? God, I just forgot. I just spaced on his name. Their third guy, who, I'll get it in a second. But
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah. Odell Beckham Jr. No.
Yeah.
But he's going to be a help. He's going to be better.
Going to throw 6 interceptions.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes.
Let's move on. For this is the week of which I have one.
Okay.
but it's a double dip. It's a
Okay.
double dip.
Let's hear it. What you got?
This is the week that Tua and Tyreek finish number one.
Mic drop.
Boom. Boom.
I have in the don't be surprised, so I'll just say that right now is that Tyreek is instantly wide receiver number one.
There you
now
go.
That Tua is back. So
yep.
I love it. I hope you're right. That would be awesome for everyone. I mean, I miss watching Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, Jalen Waddle, dude.
I'm firing
that
him
guy,
back up. I've been holding. He's another guy that I've been clutching on to. Like, I can't let him go.
I'll trade you D-Hop for him. Think about it. Think about it. What do you think of that? Trade you D-Hop for Jalen.
We may have to talk about that. I don't know. So, that may be worth something.
I think this is the week that Jalen Hurts is going to be the QB1.
Okay.
Versus Cincinnati. I think it's going to be a shootout, that game. I think it's going to be. I don't know what the over-under is. I didn't look at that, but I believe it's probably going to be close to 50.
I'll take a look. Keep talking.
Take a quick peek. I just believe that it's going to be a shootout. Both defenses are not great. And Philly has been getting better. They sure looked amazing versus.
I was going to say
against New York.
Yeah.
But I think everybody looks amazing versus New York. Their offensive line is just porous. You know.
The over/under is 48.
48. Okay, that's wonderful. I love that. Yay! Give me the over. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think both quarterbacks are going to be really good, but I think that Jalen Hurts will be QB1. We'll see. It could be Tua. I'd love to see all these guys go off.
I mean, it's a great matchup. It's a great matchup. I'll tell you who I'm not putting it on. It's not going to be Mahomes just yet. I do like where he's going, but it's not going to be him just
yet. Yeah. Twice bitten, thrice shy, right? For you and Mahomes.
Well, I'll tell you.
So
yes, go for it.
Is the week to get your house in order. This is the last week where there are no buys. Look ahead, guys and gals and theys and thems. You have to make sure your defenses are ready. That's why I picked up Chicago last week, because I'm looking at week 10. I did that week 7 for week 10 because I need it. If you wait till week 9 to pick up week 10, everyone's going to be going for that defense. You need to look ahead and see where your buys are coming up, especially defense. I think is so important because it makes such a big difference in your point total. If you can catch like a Detroit versus Tennessee like you did today, that's going to be a 20-point swing, And so get your house in order. Look at all the places. There's a lot of these bipocalypse, situations where you've got like 4 people on a buy. Yeah. Get your house in order tonight. Get it this week. This is the week
proactive.
You need to look to the future.
That's so funny because I absolutely couldn't agree with that more. You need to be looking, especially with defenses. You want to get somebody for free. You want to get somebody good for free. Now, the problem with that strategy is it does force you to sometimes carry 2 defenses, which I don't really have a problem with because some of these guys on the bench, all right, fuck you. So
if you've got any expendable player, it's better. I'd rather have the 2 defenses, knowing that I've got the defense I want on my buy. It's more important than that last player on my bench that I may or may not start. So I know I'm going to use this defense.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I dropped Bucky Irving.
There you go. Yeah, you had to make room for that defense. So there you go. But you'll be ready going into it, and then of course you'll be crying when Rashad White goes down and Sean Tucker goes down, and you gave up Bucky.
Right. Well, you're right. I will, but I mean,
that is the risk factor of doing that.
Look, I'm surprised that Bucky Irving hasn't gone down because he has been on my roster.
Yeah, very true. You do love cursing, dude. It's that kind of
this has been a cursed year for me, but yet 6-1. You wait, the curse is lifting. And there is, what else? This is the week that Jaden Reed bounces back. He had an awful game versus the plus matchup. And you were like, how is it possible versus the Vegas Raiders that you didn't just go hog wild? And I told people to beware of CJ Stroud, and I was right. He had less than 6 points. In fact, Jaden Daniels, who played 3 snaps, outscored CJ Stroud, who played an entire game. I think that Jaden Reed bounces back. Jordan Love is still great, and they're playing against the Jags. For God's sake, if you can't do it versus the Jags, you can't do it, dude.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what happened. Which, by the way, that's another defense I love this week. But the that I picked up actually was Green Bay versus the Jets, and Green Bay has quietly been absolutely lights out on defense.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Xavier McKinney, the stud.
yeah. So, but to your point, I think again, I think part of it has to do with Dobbs and the complaining session that the fit he threw. The Dobbs is now he's become a bigger part of the offense. They're like, oh, that's right, we have Dobbs,
And he looks great.
and he
He
looks
looks
great.
great.
It's like he's been proving himself right. He's
It's
like, I
true.
fucking told you. It
He
doesn't
called
have to
his
be all
number.
Jaden.
Yeah.
He's like, trust me, I've been doing this since Rodgers was here. Throw me I'm telling you, I'm that guy too. So, and consequently, Dontavian Wicks has found himself back on a lot of waiver wires.
Yeah. God,
Because
it's so hard.
and Dobbs has
Every
proven
other
that
week. I mean, he
he
caught a touchdown
deserves.
last week.
Yeah, it looks
Wicks
like
did.
Dobbs
Wicks
is becoming the guy at the expense of both Dontavian Wicks and of
Christian Gonzalez.
Jaden Reed.
And Gonzalez. I mean, that guy, it's which week is he going to be healthy? Which week isn't he going to be healthy? He's the big play. He was like the Rashid Shaheed of the Packers anyway. He was like the boomer bust guy, Gonzalez was. Jaden Reed was a little more dependable. I mean, they were really finding ways to get him the ball, but last week, just complete disappearing act. I think he will bounce back. I don't know about Wicks. I don't know about Gonzalez.
Again, I think that so long as Dobbs keeps producing, I think Wicks stays on the waiver wire or on the bench.
And Kraft has been producing as well.
And that's the other thing. Kraft has turned into a real hero over there. So. He's really turned it. If you picked him up, good on you. We had called him a flyer, then we called him a must start. We were calling him a waiver wire win. We've been on Kraft from the second. Yeah, the second he started out.
Yeah. Pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah. Anything else with this is the week?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to don't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you right now, don't be surprised if Drake May gets his first W versus the Jets. I thought he might get it versus Jacksonville, kind of fell apart on it. It turned out that home field advantage we expected Jacksonville to have in London
Tottenham Hotspur is really for Wembley.
It really is. It's Wembley. When they played at Wembley, they were unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And so it's really, so they were great. They managed to actually, I mean, they looked great. They only looked great in Wembley Stadium. But with the Jets being in that fantastic toilet bowl of dysfunction, not knowing if the quarterback's going to be able to play. And if he plays, what kind of version, he fucking sucks. So,
and every week the coach is playing for his job.
And Drake May totally, and they're distracted too. You got your defense coordinator trying to be head coach and defense coordinator. It's a mess at the Jets. Although the one thing I do like Hassan Reddick coming in now and playing, because that Jets defense may just be back. But even still, Drake May's again, he's getting better every single week. Things are happening. I'm just saying, I'm not going to declare.
Don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised. In
fact, see, I love these. I had some things in This Is the Week, and I erased them and put them down here because there's a difference.
There is a difference.
And I was going to say This Is the Week, but that's too bold for this prediction.
It's too much for
It's too much for this. Too bold, but don't be surprised if the Cowboys finally beat the Niners. Don't be surprised. No Ayuk, probably no Debo, definitely no CMC. Maybe no Jordan Mason. If we can't beat now, bro, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever beat him.
Especially coming off a bye, getting embarrassed. And Cowboys do tend to rebound well after getting humiliated.
Yeah, Dak bounces back. And I think that Micah Parsons may play. And if he does, well, then that's a huge...
Then we have a chance.
Yeah, that will really help a lot. But I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm saying don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised if the Raiders upset the Chiefs. I know that is a huge gamble, but this is one of those rivalry division games where they play each other tough, and it's one of those ones, like if the Raiders only win one game the rest of the season, it's going to be this one. I believe they're in Las Vegas, and which doesn't really matter, to be honest. The Raiders have no home. They don't have a home field advantage. But the Chiefs, again, their offense has been struggling so much. And, now you're adding D-Hop in the mix, which on paper, again, looks good. But now you got to find that chemistry and work that out. And sometimes that means interception. Sometimes that means, which Mahomes is throwing more interceptions. I mean, these are the little things that, while on paper it looks like it should be Chiefs all day, don't
100% agree. 100% agree with you on that.
Don't
It's
be
a
surprised.
lot. It's a lot like, when Brady was the Patriot and Miami sucked, and they would always play
Somehow beat them
so
in Miami
hard and beat them, and it was like, what in the world?
Totally.
They won one game and
1,000%.
beat the champs. You're right. They love to play each other super hard. It's these divisional games.
They are in Las Vegas. They are in Las Vegas. So
okay, so no home field advantage.
So no home field advantage.
Right,
exactly.
right.
So that's to be considered too.
And I've got two more. I'll start with this one.
Yep.
Don't be surprised if Caleb Williams is the quarterback one.
Oh, spicy.
Versus Washington. Look, you think he likes hearing about Jaden Daniels and what a rookie phenom he is?
Right.
Do you think he likes that?
Yeah,
he was like,
You're right. He's only going, I'm kind of winning games in a town that doesn't win games, guys.
He was number 2. I was number 1.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about him? You should talk about me. Well, you haven't been worthy of being talked about. Go in there and spank them at their house. And guess what? We'll start talking about you. So he's definitely ridiculously motivated.
He threw 4 touchdowns in London. I think
so that's a great start. For you better
listen. The last car of the Caleb Williams train is leaving the station. You better jump on it. If you ain't on it yet, and I was wrong. I thought it was going to be Jaden Daniels. I really didn't think he was going to live up to it, but he's changing my mind. Same. Now, that being said, the second I believe in someone is usually when they fall apart.
Kiss of death.
Absolute kiss of
death.
The
Wilson seal of approval is the kiss of death.
Thank you, like a death.
He's like, thanks. Do you have any others?
And I do. Don't be surprised if the Seahawks upset the Bills. This Seahawks team, this Seahawks team has proven they can be the team. We just never know when. Yeah. And they're at home, and it should play to their advantage.
What do we know about DK Metcalf and his health?
Well, DK is banged up, and I don't think he's going to play because it is an MCL sprain.
That would be surprising.
It's an MCL sprain, but I think that just means more. I just think that just means more involvement for 2 very good receivers in Jackson Smith and Jigba and Tyler Lockett.
And Noah Fant has also been. I've been talking about him for a while. He's really been getting a lot more. Targets. He's certainly somebody. I'm not
saying this is the week, and the Bills do have the capacity to kind of just fall apart randomly.
Disappear, yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck happened to the fucking Bills? Especially after they look like they're indestructible. That's when they fucking lose. So I'm just saying, I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm not saying this is the week, but don't be surprised.
Well, I'm going to say, and I don't want to be mean about it, but don't be surprised if Joe Flacco is the quarterback that finishes the game versus the Texans.
Well, there you go. That sounds right.
Yeah. So I don't want to go off on that. I think we all understand. I think don't be surprised if Richardson winds up being a backup quarterback next year, for God's sake. He's certainly not a starter. He's not ready.
This experiment needs to be over. Every time they put him back in, I'm like, what else do you need to see? He's just not ready. And I don't know that he ever will be because you've certainly given him the reps. So, I don't know.
He reminds me of who was the kid in Denver? Tim Tebow. He reminds me of Tebow. He'd be a great running back.
All talent.
Yeah.
Not a great quarterback.
Not a great quarterback. But somehow, even Tebow won a playoff game.
He sure did. Yep. So, no, in fact, his final game was a win in the playoffs.
Yeah. It was like one pass. It was over. It was just overtime.
In overtime, and that was it. Yep.
I went to the dispensary when they went to overtime. I was like, I'm going to go to the dispensary and go pick some stuff. And by the time I got back, it was over. I was like,
I know. He hit the one guy on a slant, and he took it all the way in.
It was over in a play. I was like, damn.
And I was a big Tebow fan. I liked Tebow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Who didn't? Fun. Listen, clean-cut kid, doing his best.
Yeah, God-fearing.
He had those great comebacks in college.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love those.
He was like a Peyton Hillis at the quarterback position.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
All right. moving. Do you have anything else
Nope,
for?
nope.
All right, let's talk about our must starts.
Okay.
And I like to start with the blanket must starts. And really, I only have one blanket must start,
What you got?
and it's Miami versus Arizona. It's just okay. So I was hinting at it earlier, and this is that collision of Big Mo and ability coming together, because it's not just he's a great quarterback. It's not just he has the best receiver in the league and the second best, arguably, receiver in the league, and two
for the
great
fastest.
and two great running backs. Pulling up behind him. It's not just about that. Now they have this momentum of having been downtrodden without him, and now the captain returns to take over the helm and drive this ship back to glory. And I think, and when I see that, listen, I might even fire up a little Raheem Mostert to get out there and get a tutty or two. So I mean, I'm telling you, if they're fantasy relevant, which doesn't include their tight end.
I was just going to ask about Jonnu Smith.
Everybody that's fantasy relevant. I mean, Jonnu Smith actually had a good game last week, but that is irrelevant.
But it's the only time he's ever and it wasn't with Tua, and he's never had a good one with Tua. So
except for him, again, anyone fantasy relevant, you can play them. They back.
They back. Yeah. So okay, my must start quarterbacks are Cousins versus Tampa.
Okay.
And Jameis Winston must start. I'm saying must start because he's going to be down by so much. Yes, he's going to throw some picks. I'm giving you that up front. I know he will throw some picks, but he's going to be airing it out. He's going to score. He will run. He has rushing ability. He will do it. He's a must start option versus the Ravens because, first of all, he's trying, in my opinion, you must start him if you've got nobody else. If all of your other options are bad, or you've got, I would start him over Mahomes.
Cousins?
No, I'm talking about Winston.
Oh,
I would start Jameis Winston over Mahomes this week.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
To me, he's a must start. I'm going to put my, I'll put my name, I'll put my name on it.
I was going to say mine are a little bit more brand namey than yours. And again, we're not going with the obvious. Obviously, you're starting Josh Allen. You're starting Lamar Jackson. I'm going to say C.J. Stroud versus Indianapolis. I mean, for obvious reasons, bounce back situation. Indy being a great person to bounce back. They're like that, chubby slut that hung around your friends and fucked everybody, but made her a great friend. Made her a great friend because she was that girl. They'd be like, yeah, we can bang. I don't fucking care. That's who Indy is. They're like, yeah, come fuck me. That's fine. Yeah. We suck.
We got so many holes. Penetrate.
Yeah, fucking get it. Come get it. Have fun. Everybody else does. It's fine. I'm just cool. I think Stroud's going to get that. Can we even say that anymore?
I was just wondering if this is going to wind up on the editing room floor.
Get canceled for fucking saying the chubby friend that fucks everybody. But why not? It's real. It's a real thing.
Yeah, thank God for those.
Thank God for those girls. And so I'm just saying that's who Indy is, and I think it's a great bounce back opportunity for CJ Stroud.
Well, I've got a couple of wide receiver must starts.
Well, here. I got one more quarterback must start.
Okay, what you got? What you got?
Russ versus the Giants Monday Night Football, and the Monday Night Football I think is what makes it the must.
Okay.
He came out, he played great. The Giants are eating a bucket of dicks right now.
Except their defense.
Well, except their defense, but guess whose defense is better? Pittsburgh's. The Giants are going to have no opportunities. He's going to have tons and tons and tons of opportunities. And I think, you need somebody. I think Russ is going to cook one more time. I don't know how many more times, but he cooks again on Monday night.
Should we at least take a moment and just say, thanks to Russ for letting us see George Pickens do his thing?
Oh, yeah. Of course, the week again.
I know. But you didn't know. I mean, how could you know? I mean, look, it's tough.
And some of those were miracle catches, but still, it just shows you what and I draft him every year because I know he can do this.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to bring up a sore subject. All right. My wide receivers must starts. Shocking. Tyreek Hill. And, normally people be like, oh, that's stupid. That's obvious. Well, no, not since week 1. From week 2 through 7, he has not been
No, that's
startable.
true. But with Tua back, it becomes
With Tua back, I say he's a must start, and Jaden Reed is a must start versus the Jags. Those are my 2 wide receiver starts. Enjoy them, start them up.
My wide receiver starts are Marvin Harrison versus Miami. I discussed that again, only because they're going to be down by 30. They're going to have to sling the ball. They aren't going to be able to stick to the run game. And just to keep up, he's going to have to throw it to Marvin Harrison, that's the man that's going to be open. And if he doesn't, I got a big old fuck you for fucking
We haven't done those in a while.
I know, because we don't do the recap show.
Right.
By the time we get to this show, that week's long gone.
Good point.
My other wide receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigba, again, because of even if DK plays, he's dinged up. JSM has clearly been the number 2 anyway, so he slots up to number 1. And the Bears wide receivers versus Washington, I think it's a great matchup for them, both DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, who came in with 2 big fat tutties last time. I think both of them are must starts.
Congrats on picking him up on the wire today.
I did. I got him. Pew, pew, pew.
Good job. How about running backs? Should we move on to those?
Yes,
I've got a couple.
absolutely. Yeah, I do too.
You got to start. You got to start Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
in Vegas.
I got him too.
You got to start him.
Yep, right off my list.
The way that he's been playing and the volume he's been getting, I didn't believe it was possible. But you know what? When you think about it, this is a redemption story for him. You know, he really wanted to go back and do good by Kansas City. You know, and he had a big conversation.
It's why I traded for him.
Yeah, he's absolutely a must start. And you know what? Versus Carolina, you must start Javonte Williams after his big breakout performance last week. I think he's a must start this week.
I tried to grab him off the way. He was on the waiver wire in a lot of places. I didn't get him, but I wanted him.
Yep.
For me, and again, this is one that drives me bananas, but Najee Harris, a guy that has disappointed me so many times, but again, versus the Giants, Monday Night Football, he looked fantastic again last week. It's fine. Honestly, it's finally the version of Najee Harris I've always wanted to see, that I've always believed in, but never showed. I lost faith. I lost all faith. And now,
but Jaylen Warren's back. I mean, that doesn't scare you? Because,
no, I think it'll still, because even when Jalen was there, and even when Jalen looked better, they stuck with Najee Harris. And I think they do it again. I don't think the Warren sees more than a couple third downers here and there. I don't see him as a threat at all. Not this week anyway. Not on Monday Night Football. One of my other must starts is Mason versus Dallas, and Swifty versus Washington. I think those are, you got to fire those guys.
Oh, that's a good one. I should have put Swift on there.
Yeah,
I should have put Swift on there versus Washington. Washington's defense, I know that they had a good week last week, but who did they played garbage, So they're easy to score on.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're not Indy, but they're pretty.
They're not Indy, but you can score both ways. You can do it on the ground and in the air.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good one. Swifty is a wonderful one. I've got a tight end. The only one though, and it's Kate Otten is my only must.
It's the exact same one that I have. The only one that I have as a must start. That isn't the obvious. That you have to start because of the name value. It is Kate Otten. Absolutely must start. Fire him up without question.
And should we go ahead and take a victory lap on the correct? This is the week for Mark Andrews.
Yeah, go right ahead.
2 touchdowns last game. 3 touchdowns the last 2 games. Suddenly, people are talking about Mark Andrews again. I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks, and here he has 3 touchdowns in those 2 weeks. You're welcome.
Yeah, if you held on to him, you're in a very good position.
Or if you picked him up.
If you picked him up, which a lot of people dropped the guy, and especially after Likely went off for 3, and then he didn't do anything for another 2 games. A lot of people dropped him, and now they're regretting it. So that's why you don't really ever want to drop the big name guys. You may bench them, but you don't really want to. It's tough to drop them. Even though you're talking to a guy
roster 2 tight ends. How do you roster? I mean, it's tough to roster 2 tight ends.
It is, but I always roster 2 tight ends.
All right.
Because it's tough, because you're looking at crap if you don't have a backup. So
no.
Defensively, really quickly,
Packers.
Packers, KC, Denver versus Carolina, number one with a bullet,
Oh,
and
that's easy.
Pittsburgh versus the Giants. So those
Yeah,
four, I
easy.
think, all have just marvelous matchups. If you can grab those, fire them up. You got an extra 10 to
Well,
20 in your bank.
the only one you didn't mention that I think is a must start, and of course we already talked about the Lions, but the Texans versus the Colts,
Right.
must start, especially if Richardson stays in the whole game. You're really going to get
some nice points out of that
some
guy.
good points.
Yep. Let's move on.
Now for the other side.
Yeah, the must sits. I really only have two must sits, and they're both running backs.
Okay. So I've got two quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs.
Okay, well, lead us off.
All right. So your quarterbacks that you must sit, we disagree here. I think you still got to sit Kyler Murray, and I think you got to must sit Trevor Lawrence versus the Packers. We were talking about how great their D is. If the Packers,
listen, if you're starting Trevor Lawrence right now, you're 0-7 anyway. So
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
I guess that's a good point. But he is a must sit, in my opinion, as well as Kyler is a must sit. I think I know it's versus Miami.
I just think he's going to have to sling in the fourth quarter. I would say I wouldn't sit him in this one, but okay.
All right.
So
who are your running backs?
Running backs, I'll start out with Ramondre Stevens versus the Jets. This foot issue, unfortunately, I know he's so good when he's healthy, but he had this foot issue last year and it fucked up this season just like it's doing this year. So for me, if you have any other option, unfortunately, you got to sit it.
Well, that hurts. And here's the one that he's been playing great, but I think it's a must sit is Tony Pollard this week versus Detroit. Detroit's number 2 overall versus the run. And, I know Aaron Jones had a pretty good game and he was coming off an injury, which I thought was kind of crazy. I mean, 93 yards and a touchdown for him last week. That's not the norm. You
got to respect the pass in Minnesota the way you don't have to in Tennessee. So
exactly. So I would definitely sit Pollard and all the Falcons running backs. I'd sit them all. I think you must sit them all because you just don't know which one it's going to be. The only one you might be able to play is White.
Oh, so the Buccaneers running backs.
That's what I meant. Sorry. The Bucks.
Yeah, I was going to say Falcons. You're playing the Falcons.
I meant the Bucks. Yeah, my bad. The Falcons is Bijan. Yeah.
For me, my other must-sit running backs are Singletary and Tracy versus Pittsburgh. Again, they're going to try and lean on the run. Pittsburgh's going to shut it down. They're going to force whoever's throwing the ball to throw the ball. And so they're total sits for me. I wouldn't expect anything out of them this week.
Well, I think you got a lot more hope with Tracy because of his pass catching ability. And he's just shown that he's clearly their better running back.
I know, but they're going to totally let Singletary do it again. So
I guess they paid him money and they're like,
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's one of those things. And so inexplicably, Singletary's back in the lead again. So I'd sit them both. That's why, because I don't know how many opportunities Tracy's going to get. They keep going back to Singletary. So
it is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I've got wide receivers to sit. If I'm sitting Kyler Murray, I'm also sitting Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
Sure.
I'm sitting him and I'm sitting Deontay Johnson, even though he's so great. It's versus Denver. Denver is
and it's a mystery what's happening now with Bryce Young. I mean, we'll see if he can get him the ball. It's definitely for this week for sure. This week it's for sure a sit.
Yeah. And then a defense to sit is the Seahawks versus the Bills. I would sit their defense.
That would make sense. All right. Scary beware.
We won't do it. We won't do it again. I won't turn off
although this is the week we probably should have done. Or next week. We can do it next week.
We can do it next week. Every other week.
That was fun. But
that was fun.
For me, starting off quarterback wise, Joe Burrow in Philly versus Philly. I know
Philly versus Cincy.
Huh? No,
you said Philly versus Philly.
Versus Philly in Philly.
Oh, in Philly. Got it.
Which I think is what makes it. I know, if you need to play him, you got to play him. But I wouldn't expect much out of Burrow this week. I mean, obviously, Philly ain't stupid. They're going to spend
over under is 48, right?
Well, the over under could
Those
be wrong,
and we don't like their running
and it
back.
could be
So
40. It could be 40 for Philly.
I could be. I mean, it's possible. I
I
just
just,
don't see it. Jamar Chase is,
again, it's not a must sit.
yeah.
Scary, be wary.
All right. All right. Well, we sort of touched on it earlier. I'm scary, be wary of Jaden Daniels or Mariota, whichever one of them is playing versus Chicago.
Yep.
I just think Chicago's motivated. They're rested. And, I think that they're looking to get their name in the papers. I mean, they want to be a household. People, they were talking about them all offseason, and then they stopped talking about them because they started the season kind of, I think they're like, hey, bring us back to the conversation, I think they're going to make a statement. It's going to be a statement game in Chicago. I'd beware of Jaden or Mariota versus Chicago.
I'd beware of Mahomes and Kelsey versus the Raiders. And it isn't so much about the matchup. I just know everyone's going to be eager to fire them back up now that they got Diop. I just think it's a week too soon. You got to see what you got here. There's no way they have chemistry yet in 3 days. It's not like the only reason people believed in the Devontae Adams thing is because they played together for years and they still came out and looked like shit.
3 catches?
Yeah, no chemistry at all.
Drop the first pass, right? I mean, drop the first one.
I don't expect a massive uptick for Mahomes this week. Now, we'll see what we got. And then starting next week, really, I think come week 10, I guess we're talking about now. God, oh my God.
I know, I hate it. It goes too
Oh
fast.
my God, it goes
it's so sad. So sad.
But week 10, I think, is when Mahomes catches fire again.
Yes. I'm trying to remember if that's their bye week. That's one of the bipocalypse weeks. Week 10 is like,
oh, it might be.
Billion,
so it might be week
11. Yeah, it's either 10 or 11. I'm doing something that you did last week. I'd say scary, be wary of these 2 quarterbacks facing each other.
Okay.
Drake May and Rodgers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Both the defenses are pretty good. And Drake is he's still learning, and Rodgers is Rodgers, dude. Just beware of him. Something isn't right. This is not working. This is not working.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. I don't think it's not gonna happen. So just beware. I wouldn't.
I would beware. Moving on to wide receivers, I in line with that, both Wilson and Adams versus New England. They both are scary. You probably have to start them, but beware. They're probably not going to be great. Neighbors versus Pitt for the same reasons. I mean,
that's a good call.
It's a scary. You're going to have to start him, but beware. And again, and for some reason, okay, Amari Cooper versus the Bills. I know it looked so good last week, but people are going to be keying on him even more this week in Seattle. I just beware. I know you're probably going to fire him up. I know I'm firing him up. He's a little scary to me this week.
I've only got one wide receiver, and it's right there in his name. Scary Terry. Be wary of Scary Terry this week. I think he's great. All right. I think that he is awesome. And I love the connection with him and Daniels all of a sudden. They've really put it together. But this is not the week for it. This is a scary time for them. Chicago is going to make a statement. I don't think this is going to be good for Washington this week.
I agree with that. It's so funny because I have both Brian Robinson and McLaurin as scary, be wary this week versus Chicago. And that rounds out my list. Absolutely.
Well, I've got Alvin Kamara versus the Chargers. I know they just gave him a giant extension and a big bag of money. But
yeah, they gave him a giant extension. Then he revealed he has a broken hand. Okay.
Right. Did he really?
Yeah, just came across.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
Well,
then definitely beware.
Apparently, he's been playing with it since week 5, so I guess it's not going to slow him down. But but he has slowed down.
He hasn't been good since week 5.
I was going to say, so he's been slowing down since week 5, and now we know why. He's been hiding this broken hand situation.
I can't believe that. Okay, well, I did not know that. So I guess in my head, there was something already off.
Yeah, you were like, something's wrong with this guy, and it's not just the quarterback situation.
Well, beware of Chase Brown and Zach Moss.
Yeah.
Versus Philly, they've got the fifth best. Ooh, that's hard to say fast. 5th best run defense. Their wide receiver defense is not great. Philly. So
Well,
that's
I
why I
think
think,
the thing about Philly is I think Philly's feeling it right now
yeah,
after
they're
last
getting that.
week's. You
They
know
got
what I
AJ
mean?
Brown. They
You
got
know what I
AJ
mean? You know
Brown.
when you really get to fuck somebody good, and you're just walking around feeling like the man for the rest. They fucked the Giants good. I
How
mean,
close was
they
I to the 200 yards? And they
totally so close. What did he hit? Like 186 or something like that.
187 total
By the
yards.
way, can we just really quick? And I know
Yeah,
this is off topic. We're talking
do it.
about the scary be waries and getting in.
Right.
But okay, at the beginning of the season, first of all, I said that Derrick Henry was going to paint his masterpiece, and I said it'd be 200 yards and 3 scores in the first game. That did not even come close. But
Yeah.
since then, he's had like 3 200-yard games, and well, from scrimmage, all yardage put together, but or very close to it, like 186, 170.
199 was, yeah,
So
in rushing. Yeah.
right, so he's come so close, like 3 times out of 7 games. And the other thing I said was we may be looking at an undefeated season for the Ravens. They came out and dropped their first 2 games. But guess what's happened since? Undefeated
On
for
fire.
5 games.
Well,
Yes.
they clearly look like the best team in the league.
Well, they clearly had to figure out what they had in Derrick Henry. It's amazing the way people just, they don't believe it until
It's
they
hard
see
to
it.
believe because he's huge.
He's the size of a lineman. And he's a running back, and he runs 21 miles
21 miles an hour. It's not normal.
And that
and he's
meme with the
old.
look, and the meme with the look on his face when he's running is fantastic. Just, "Ah!" He's like Schwarzenegger when the mask is blowing up in Total Recall. That's him.
Yes, we are amazing. Sometimes our timing is a little off, but we're getting.
Totally. I was 2 weeks late on the undefeated season, but it's looking like it right now, isn't it?
From this point forward.
Yeah, from that point forward, they haven't lost a thing yet.
And I don't know
who's going to beat them.
You should give yourself another pat on the back because you did say, and it looked like you were wrong at first, but it turned out you were right about Zay Flowers. You were like, he's going to be the beneficiary of all this. He's going to be the one. Yep. I know Rashad Bateman looked great, but that's just because Flowers got banged up. That all would have been Flowers, you know, that last week. And you just wait. He's going to be doing all of that.
And, I complained that he never puts 2 games together. Then he put 2 games together. So, I mean, he is starting to have the season that I said he was going to have. Absolutely. It's starting to really come together for him.
But, for tight ends, you should beware. Scary. Trey McBride versus Vegas.
Oh, yeah. No. Arizona is versus Miami.
Versus Miami. God, why do I have Vegas written down there? Just McBride has been kind of just okay at best, middling. He's never had this big game. And I just think that people are excited because it looks like it's going to be such a good matchup and he's just going to go out and dominate. I don't know, man. I think you got to sit.
Well, again, I think they got to throw the ball. So I actually like him to at least give you points.
Well, I hope you're right.
Which, let's be honest, that's the threshold with a tight end. You just get your points. You give me 8, 9 points, I'm happy.
Oh, same. Yes. Give me 8. That's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win.
You get me to double digits? I'll suck your dick. I'll suck your dick.
That's why Pitts never gets in double digits.
Maybe.
I think you should also be aware of Laporta. Remember, Tennessee is second best versus the tight ends.
Yeah, no, you're right. But he's a scary be wary but he's been kind of a scary be wary the whole season, unfortunately. So
sadly.
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird deal after the way he played last season to have this kind of a start to the first half of the season. Very odd. Very odd.
I have nothing for defenses. You usually do.
Yeah, no, we're all good. Let's move on to sleepers and flyers.
Okay, the fun begins.
Here we go. Sleepers and flyers. For me, again, and I said it last week, and I think I was right. I mean, he was very productive. He wasn't the flashiest, but incredibly productive. Khalil Shakir.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
He didn't get the splashy plays the way Keon did and Amari Cooper, but he got like 9 receptions on 10 targets. It was still a nice,
and a
healthy,
PPR,
he was still at a nice, healthy day. Yeah, I like Khalil Shakir still.
It's a high floor. maybe a little bit of a lower ceiling now because Amari's there, but
Yep.
that floor has raised, and that's great if you need stability, and who doesn't? If we're going to go straight to wide receivers, I say this is going to be scary, but remember, it's a flyer, you guys. Please don't give me shit, but take a flyer on Calvin Ridley this week. Okay.
Oh my God. I
Look.
totally agree.
Yay!
Totally
okay, I thought you were
agree.
gonna make fun of me right now.
No, I 1000% agree. I've got him on
Take
my
a flyer on
list.
Ridley.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
play him on DFS. Throw him in your
Absolutely.
lineup.
Yeah. They're gonna have to throw. It's gonna be
somebody.
Mason. Diop's gone. It's the Calvin Ridley show, baby.
I mean, it's him and Okonkwo. I mean, who else you got? I don't know.
I 1000% agree. It's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be garbage time. He's probably gonna have like 3.5 points through 3 quarters and then 12 points at the end of the game. So,
and you know what's crazy is, Detroit, as good as their run defense is, they're the second worst against the pass.
There you go. So fire them up.
Fire them up. Take a flyer. I mean, I'm not saying go, bet your house that this guy is going to break records or whatever. I'm saying take a flyer on him.
Let me ask you this: who would you start if you had? Because one of my flyers, and that'll lead us
asking
into it.
For a friend, yeah.
Yeah, no. What is Lockett versus the Bills in terms of him getting increased volume now, his dependability with DK being out? I like Lockett a lot, especially against versus the Bills. I think I like that a lot. So I do have Lockett, Ridley, and Dobbs, and Devonta Smith. And actually, Devonta Smith is the one that's kind of been sucking.
Yeah. Well, since AJ Brown's back.
Yeah. So who would you sit?
I have to only sit one.
Smith. Only one.
Sit one.
Yeah.
It's so weird to say it, but I think you're right because Devonta Smith was the one you probably drafted highest.
Very much higher.
So, but yeah, until you can prove it, all these other guys have so much better opportunity, I believe. This week, I do like the
matchup. Yeah, Philly versus Cincy.
So if I guess
but Devonta Smith,
who did you say you've got? Dobbs, Lockett. Okay, if DK plays, I might sit Lockett instead.
Yeah.
If DK plays, I might sit Lockett. But if DK doesn't play,
right now I've got Ridley on the bench. But I'm with you on it might be the Ridley show.
Take a flyer. This could be a good week.
I'd rather a guy who gets all the targets than a guy who gets 3 targets, which is what's happening with Devonta Smith.
Yeah. Well, that'll be fun to see how that works out. I can't wait to see, so we can talk about it next week. You have to let us know who you wound up sitting and what happened.
Another fly in the running back department, the flyer I really like is Jermichael Hasty with New England versus the Jets. Again, the Jets, good defense, added Hassan Reddick, but there's still this dysfunctional fucking mess. And Jermichael has become this weird gadget play, scat back situation, especially if Ramondre sits. If Ramondre sits,
oh sure,
then fire up some Jermichael Hasty.
I love it. I didn't think of that, and I am absolutely putting him in my DFS line.
Do it.
Love that, Jermichael Hasty. He's good at catching the ball too. He really good at running routes,
and he's very shifty. When he gets to the open field, he's very shifty. I've always liked
with the 49ers, yeah.
I know, and with the Bucks. So I mean, I've always been a fan of Jermichael Hasty, and he just never finds his place. So I don't know. I just like him. I like him on Sunday versus the Jets.
Remember, these are flyers.
Flyers.
Yeah. Maybe take a flyer on Amani Vidal this week as a running back. Why? Because Dobbins had the best possible situation last week and just didn't give you anything.
Oh, listen, I know it.
It was so disappointing. I was expecting so much. I played him in every DFS lineup. I made room.
I started him over Gibbs because I saw volume.
I get it.
I was like, he gets all the touches. He's getting a little bit here and there. And then Gibbs scores 2 fucking touchdowns. And I'm at a concert looking at my phone going, the fuck is
happening? Oh, man. Well, so I say give Vidal a shot. Who knows? I don't know if something's wrong with Dobbins. There usually is something wrong with Dobbins. maybe that's what's going on. But I'd say that, maybe Harbaugh gives him a shot.
Okay, I can see
So
that. Listen, I like
take a
him.
flyer,
Listen, but they also started putting in Haskins again last week.
which is
So
stupid.
yeah, but
I'm a
that
Michigan
that was
guy,
one
and
of the
I think
reasons I
Haskins is
dropped Kamani
bad.
Vidal, because he was behind fucking Haskins. He was behind Gus Edwards and Haskins. He was 4. So I was like, I can't keep this guy any longer.
No, but you knew
If
that
you
he
want
was going to come up.
a quarterback flyer, I like this week is our guy Dak Prescott. Again,
Dude,
I
don't
like
be surprised
him.
if they win the game.
Don't be surprised. It's a great setup for them. They're coming off a bye. He's rested. He just got engaged. He's got a baby. I like a lot of things happening for him. I like and listen, the week before he was Captain Clutch when he came through with that touchdown at the end of the game and fucking looked amazing.
Pittsburgh, yep.
So I like him to do it again and at least have a good game. I expect a good game out of him.
I love it. I think a good flyer as far as quarterback goes, I only have one, and it's Bo Nix.
Okay, sure.
Let's give Bo Nix a shot. Take
good
a flyer.
matchup.
Yeah, most of these flyers I always think in terms of DFS. Their salaries are so low. It's great to get these flyers. I cannot play with you right now. I would
probably go with Drake May over Bo Nix. Just because,
really?
Just because May has the tendency to throw it more.
Versus the Jets?
Yeah.
With Reddick. See, I'm talking about versus Carolina.
I know.
They're like, hey, come on through.
But this is a Carolina team that strangely is, they haven't, you would think they've given up on their season, and strangely they haven't given up on their season.
I will be honest, I haven't seen a ton of Carolina because
right. But the way they crunched Jaden Daniels, like they had something to play for, was pretty amazing. So we'll see. Another flyer I like, again, this is a flyer, deep sleeper situation.
Love it.
Tim Patrick.
Always love him as a flyer. I think
Detroit
he's like, until further notice. Yeah.
Versus Tennessee. Now with Jameson Williams injured.
I think injured. Suspended.
Oh, right. Suspended. That's right. So, but he's out of the picture. So he gone. He gone. So I think that opens the door for one Tim, who is already eating into his production.
Correct. I mean, Khalif Raymond might also go in.
Our commissioner reached out to me and was like, what would he wanted a running back, and he was like, what would Jameson Williams get me? I was like, Tim Patrick's email address.
Nice. What would he get you?
Yeah, I get nothing. He's like, what's the price? I said, Neighbors. I want Neighbors. You guys, I can't get rid of Neighbors. I said, then we're done here. Why are you trying to make a trade with the guy in first place?
Nick tried to trade me Neighbors for Bijan Robinson.
Okay,
I was like,
out of it, bro.
What's wrong with you?
And he's trying to trade up. You trade down.
I told him, I said, look, you've got Justin Jefferson out there on your squad. You come at me with Jefferson for Bijan, not Neighbors. That's offensive to me. So he said, okay, how about Jefferson? And now I'm thinking about it.
Well,
would you do Jefferson for Bijan?
Wow.
I know. I'm thinking.
It depends on what your other RBs are. I would have to look at it. But let's move on.
Okay. Let's do tight end. You got any tight ends or?
I don't. That's actually the end of my sleeper flyers.
Okay, I've got 2 tight ends, and I love names that you don't know, like Grant Calcaterra, right? Let's give this guy a try in Philly. Goddard's out. He seemed to look okay. And how about Will Dissly? Let's give Will Dissly a shot versus New Orleans. He had a really big breakout game last game. Maybe he can keep that going.
I smartly before that game went and picked him up.
Nice.
In one of my leagues, and I was like, I fucking knew it. I was like, I knew.
That's impressive.
Here's the thing, because Hayden Hurst has been ahead of him, and just I don't know if he's got hands of stone or whatever, but Herbert has not thrown in the ball, and then Dissly gets in there and he throws the ball. I knew Dissly was going to have a bunch of catches. It was a great, and I like Dissly a lot too. I like him, and he's at least a bench stash, at least.
Totally, I think that so is Calcaterra. Let's make some people some money, my friend.
Let's do it. Let's talk about our locks of the week.
Let's do it. Okay.
We've been on this one game all day long. The whole show we've been on this game. Chicago.
Miami? Oh, no.
I was gonna say, although
Yeah.
there are one too.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
right now you can get Miami -3.5. Okay.
I've got it -3 on Bovada.
Oh my God, I got a -3.5 on with my, my thing,
Your bookie.
my other thing that I use, my other thing, my
Yeah.
thing that's a thing.
Your guy.
My guy, I got a
Got a
guy,
guy.
3.5. But I still
Hey.
think it's great. If you can get it -3, you know, I think they're gonna. I mean, I think it's gonna be a lot more than that. So I like that one a lot. But the other one is Chicago -2.5 versus Washington, and this is really. I took it -2.5 because obviously Jaden Daniels isn't ruled out yet. So I want to get it right now because once he's ruled out, that's going to move to
-3.5,
3.5, if not more. And so,
I mean, yeah, but that's at least more than a field goal. You know, like
right,
that's
exactly. That changes everything.
Yes.
So get it now, locking it now. Again, if you get a -2,
What's
-2.5.
Do you have the money line there on that game?
I don't. Let me take a look. I mean, I do. I'll look at it real quick.
Curious.
I do have it open.
Because I bet you that's pretty good.
And this is the Miami game, right? No, this is the
Chicago.
Chicago. Where are you guys? There we go. Money line. Chicago is -145. Which I'd rather take the points.
Yeah.
I'd rather take the points.
Oh, Chicago was the dice roll that I had. I'm sorry. Yeah, we were talking. What was Miami's money line?
Miami's money line is at this point. Let me find it.
Probably worse.
I would imagine so. Absolutely.
Probably 160. 155.
Where are you? Where are you hiding? There we go. 175
-175. Yikes.
Yeah, -175 on Miami. That's why I'm like -3.5. To me, that's a lock.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, I'm expecting to win at a minimum by 6. Minimum. The floor for me is 6.
100% agree with you on this. My lock is Miami -3. And I've got another lock actually, which is Green Bay -4.5.
Okay.
4.5 versus the Jags.
Not bad at all.
Come on, that's a lock. And I got a couple of dice rolls. Let's take the Cowboys +4.5, baby.
Okay.
I'm telling you, don't be surprised. So if we shouldn't be surprised if they're going to win, getting 4.5 points. Hey, you know,
well,
let's roll the dice.
I have one more lock, and that's New England +7. Because again, the Jets are just such a mess. Even if Aaron plays, I don't think he plays well or for very long. And I just don't. I don't think it's. If anything, you want to lock, bet the fucking under. Bet the under on New England and the Jets. Let's see what that line is.
Yeah, I bet you that's. Let me guess.
Let me look at it.
I'm going to say the over under is 37.5.
40. Take the under.
I will take the under. I would take the under 37.5.
You know, I'm going to take the under right now while we're.
Yeah, do it, dude, do it. Do it.
Now,
hey, how did your bets go in Vegas?
Oh, I did great. I won 4 out of 6.
Hey, that's great.
I came out, and one of those was a parlay, so I came out up a couple hundo.
Hey, congrats, buddy. See,
yeah.
You bet more than $1.
Yeah, it was fun. I actually made some real money.
Yay.
And I know that's right. Everyone's like, Greg, why aren't you watching the concert? I'm like, I'm fucking watching the game, man.
Because I got 20 hours riding on it.
Exactly. I got fucking $40 on this. And not only that, all the good bands are later tonight. Shut the fuck up. Okay, and where's let me look at, I have one. Oh, so that's my other one, New England +7. But really the under. The lock really is the under. Bet that fucking under.
Love it.
Let's move to dice rolls.
God bless you.
Sorry, a little something got caught in there.
A little frog in the throat.
How you doing, ladies?
So my dice roll, I can almost smell that. Anyway.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. I don't know.
And you know what? I'm not editing it out.
Good for you. That's gonna get us followers.
I may leave it. I may take it out.
Yeah, that'll get us some extra followers. Look, there's a lot of sick people out there. I mean, who knows what they want? Maybe this is what they want.
Maybe.
So dice rolls, I had the Cowboys right +4.5.
Yep.
And then I've got Chicago -1.5. You've got it as a lock. I've got it as a dice roll. Maybe it really should be a lock. I mean, it just seems so small of a difference. Yeah. And I really think that they're going to come out, and I think they're just going to handle it.
I think they're going to wallop them pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dice roll, and this is a real dice roll, but you can make some money on this. Browns plus 9.5. Because this is, again, just like the Chiefs Raiders game, this is one of those games that no matter the records, they play them so tough. They just do. The Ravens and the Browns and the Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals and the Bengals and the Raiders, like these.
All the divisional games.
All those.
The Steelers and the Ravens always play each other really hard, no matter what. Even when it's Mason Rudolph.
These guys they lock horns like crazy. And now with Jameis Winston coming in, I like the Browns plus a 9.5.
I said he's a must start. It's hard. 9.5. Gosh. Where are they playing? Is that Cleveland?
It is in Cleveland.
Ooh, 9.5. Gosh, that's really nice. I wonder if it moves to 10.
I gotta stop gambling.
If it moves to 10, if it moves to 10, I think I'll do it. 9.5. That's a dice roll, though, right? That's a dice roll. Let's roll the dice. Let's roll the dice.
Let's roll the dice. I gotta
it's just money. It's only money.
My exposure's up to $80 for this weekend. I have to stop.
Yeah. Woo! But you won a couple hundred. You won a couple hundred.
Exactly. Believe me, I'm up. I'm fine.
Yeah. That's the sign of a gambler.
We do all this research, and I'm like, ooh,
I'm making everybody else money. Why don't I make myself some?
Listen, that's what I'm about here. Yeah, I gotta stop. I'm done with the betting. That's it. It. Those are my 4 bets for the week.
I just want to say one last thing before we go, and it's just an aside. Did you happen to catch the video of Tyreek Hill talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That played into all of this. Yeah. That played into all of this.
Yeah.
This played into my this is the week. This played into, I would already been thinking that way. And then I see that video and I'm like, oh yeah.
Let's get the band back together.
Totally. And I remember when I was talking about Big Mo, I was talking about Big Mo with talent, with ability, with all the right elements coming together. Baby. Fired up. I think they steamroll Arizona real bad.
Well,
all right.
Good luck to everybody in your fantasy conundrums.
Yes.
I hope we helped in some small way.
I enjoyed the show. Some money. Yeah, maybe make a little money on the gambling side. So, all right, great episode. Fantasy football. Australia.
Reality.